Welcome to Arnie's Class Podcast. I'm Arnie Aniel. I'm an HR development consultant, an international public speaker, a workshop facilitator, a coach, and an educator. Life is a great opportunity, and we all learn life lessons every day. This podcast is all about those lessons. Lessons like gratitude, confidence, happiness, mindset, and a lot more. Learning without action is information. Learning with action is transformation. Join me, learn, and transform yourself into a better you. From the time you were born up to where you are at the moment in your life, I'm very certain that you've experienced challenges, problems, and probably minor hiccups in your personal life, professional life, and all the other aspects that make us human. Where are you at the moment? How is your heart? Some people might not be even aware that they are traumatized of what happened in the past, and it's now being manifested in your present life. Maybe you're doing some things that is a result of what happened in the past, and you don't even know that you're actually doing them. How do you answer the questions, who am I? And what is my purpose in life? In this episode, let's talk about your heart. Because sometimes we think too much and we use our brain so much. Probably it's about time for us to change and shift the focus. Not with your head, but with your heart this time. And let's see what will happen. And whatever happened in the past, and you're still affected by those experiences, listen to my special guest and learn, how can you heal? How can you recover? And how can you start living with joy, peace, and light? My special guest for this episode is extra special. She is a heart healer, a spiritual empowerment coach, a minister, a best-selling author, a public speaker, a clairaudient angel who specializes in helping people heal their relationships with themselves. And she uses angel heart healing technique that enables people to build the perfect relationship with themselves and answer the questions, who am I? Why am I here? And where am I going? My special guest helps release your greatest fear to achieve your biggest dreams. And as you heal your hearts and transform your lives, she's going to have your heart even better. So please welcome my extra special guest, Dr. Marcia Martin. Dr. Marcia, welcome to Arnie's Class.
Arnie, I'm so excited and delighted to be here. Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor.
Yes, it's an honor for me to have you as my guest. As I read through your profile, I said, my guest is not just special, but extra special.
Aw.
So let's start with my first question. Dr. Marcia, how can you say that the person is traumatized?
Oh, what a fabulous question. Because trauma is one of those insidious things. It's something that may happen to you without your knowledge. And you may believe that you are just fine because this is all you've ever known, all you've ever experienced, or all that you believe that you deserve to receive. So I'm going to make it easy and just say, if you aren't happy, if your heart is not filled with joy and you are not loving where you are, there is a great possibility that you are dealing with unhealed trauma.
Wow. Wow. So after they acknowledged that, for example, Dr. Marcia, they said, yes, I'm not happy at the moment. My heart is full of anger, full of anxiety, full of fears. What's the first step for these people to do in order for them to get out of that hole of trauma?
It's, you are so brilliant. Thank you. I just love this because too many people believe that, well, I'm a victim. And because I'm a victim, that means there's nothing I can do. But we need to remember that there is always something that we can do. And there will never come a time when we are faced with a circumstance that is saying to us, this is as good as it gets. You can't be any more than this. We as human beings come with a deep desire to grow. And growth doesn't always look the same in every person, but growth is all about becoming more than you are in this moment. So that can be more filled with joy, more filled with love, more understanding of a certain topic. So once you are able to say to yourself, gosh, I have to recognize that I'm very unhappy. Perhaps I'm anxious or I'm depressed, or I just feel like every day is the same and it's never going to change and I'm not motivated to do anything. First thing I want you to do is honor yourself by saying, wow, I am so proud of myself for being willing to look at the situation, to acknowledge it, and to recognize that I must do something different if I'm going to get a different result. Those who are never going to get anywhere are the ones that are saying, yeah, my life is terrible, but it's Arnie's fault, or it's my family's fault, or it's this society that if we are unwilling to look at what our part is in getting us to this place, we can never move further from this place. So the first thing is acknowledge, hey, I am here in this place of unhappiness and I don't like it and I want something different. That is so incredibly freeing and empowering right there, because then you get to say, you have the next conversation. Okay, I don't like where I am. So that means that there's got to be something more that I can do. Now I'm open to exploring all the different possibilities, all of the ways in which I can take positive action and move myself out of this place. So, first, acknowledge that there's a problem and that you had some part in creating it. And that is where so many people, including myself, when I first began this journey, oh, that was not what I wanted to hear. My life had gone in such a downward spiral. And that was sort of the first thing they hit me with is you're here because of your choices, your thoughts, your actions, and your agreement. And I was like, oh, I'm so offended. How dare you? I'm an intelligent person. I would never allow him. So after I got through with uh, all of the defense and the excuses and you're stupid, it took about 6 months for that to settle in and for me to just say, okay, I guess I've got to understand how I got here or I'm going to be stuck here. And that is really what started the journey, is to finally say, okay, I had some part, maybe not complete responsibility, but I had some part for getting here. I can't change anybody else's actions. My belief set is not going to change the worldview. So those are things that I can't do anything about. But I have complete control over what I'm thinking, what I am feeling, who I am choosing to associate with, and how long I'm going to prolong whatever it is that I'm doing. So I had to start with me, who I disliked intensely because I was like, now
Yeah.
you're stuck with this person, and look what you don't have anything that you can be proud of. You aren't in a place to feel good about. And so it began the journey of self-love, the journey of finding out, who am I? What can I like about me? And sometimes it has to be so simple. Well, I like the fact that I am willing to honor the journey. And then you progressively, as you lose more and more of the baggage, you can discover more and more about who you truly are within. And then you find more to love about yourself. But in the beginning, just, oh, wow, I'm really proud of the fact that I am willing to go on this journey and try.
Yeah.
I might fail. And it's okay to begin the journey and say to yourself, I failed at a lot of things, and I might fail at this too. Get it out there. Don't hide. You're already in the dark. You're not beginning because your life is fabulous. You're starting on this journey because you're hurting. And so it's okay to say, and if I fail, I will find another way.
Wow.
If you say to yourself, I can't fail, now the box, you're back in the box, now there's nowhere to go except around this very small little place that's already told you it's not serving you. So you want to let yourself out of the box by saying, okay, I can own that I helped myself get here. I can own that I might not be capable of getting out of here. And I can begin looking for help and looking for ways that I can move forward.
Wow.
If you can just accomplish that without any self-criticism, this is the end. When you are able to say, okay, I'm ready to begin, you must stop all self-criticism. It's just gotta go. And this is from somebody who was the biggest self-critic on the planet, who is still struggling with that sometimes. It's still an ingrained habit, but you've got to go from, okay, I'm here. I recognize I got to get out of here. I am motivated to get out of here. And I'm commit to not looking at what's wrong. I'm not going to look at how I didn't get it right. I'm only going to be proud of the fact that I am doing anything that will move me forward.
So, Dr. Marcia, what I can get from that, very well explained, but just for my life mates, my listeners, as I call them, is that first is they have to recognize where they are at the moment. And at the same time, they should have that kind of acceptance and accepting the responsibility for their own lives. Stop blaming others, my mom, my parents, my siblings, my community, all the people around you except yourself. You have to take responsibility of your life. And at the same time, if I can summarize it, it has to be intentional that I'm ready.
Yes, intentional and without blame. Just kick blame and shame to the curb. This means you cannot blame anybody else, but you also cannot blame you, and you cannot shame yourself for getting yourself in this position. The thing we need to remember is if you knew better, you would do better.
Of course.
So, hallelujah that you have somehow gotten to this place where you're able to say, I really don't like my life. I really don't like me. I really don't like anything right now, and I want to change. that is magnificent. And you should not criticize, shame, blame, or dishonor yourself in any way for recognizing that that is true for you. It's the biggest gift you will ever give yourself. Otherwise, there are many people, and I work with so many people that have thought continuously about suicide because they believe that there's no way past the shame. And truly, the one emotion, the one, it's not really an emotion, but the one critical thought that needs to go first is believing that you are shameful for being in this place. Everybody gets to this place at some point.
Not only you,
Yes, some
all
of
of
us,
us.
and some of us go deeper, and some of us just kindly barely dip in and then, ooh, I don't like that. I mean, I went really deep. I tried like, ooh, let's just explore the depths of this. Let's see how far we can go in the wrong direction. So, you can't come to me and say, oh, I don't know how I'll ever forgive myself because I've already been there. So I'm going to tell you right now, that's baloney. Just park that whole idea somewhere else because there's no room in this work for that. I've been to the depths of despair and I'm on the top of the mountain. And so I know that we can all go barreling down, and it takes a courageous, committed, and strong person to start climbing up. So when I see you, I'm going to look at you and say, you are brilliant. You are amazing. You are courageous. And congratulations for opening your heart enough to begin the journey. And that's where we begin, from that place of self-honor instead of self-blame.
See. So, Dr. Marsha, one of the things that I like about what you said is self love. The question is, can you give us like practical techniques on how can they start loving themselves again? Because people who are traumatized sometimes, again and again, they will think, oh, I love myself, but only lip service. They're not doing
Right.
some activities, you know?
I love you. Right. I love you on
Yes.
Monday. I hate you on Tuesday.
Yes.
Kind
And
of
I'm
like
worse
you
on Wednesday.
Wednesday. Oh, maybe I kind of like
Yeah.
you.
Can,
Yeah.
can you share some very simple techniques or activities that they can do, especially those who've been traumatized, to start loving themselves again?
Well, I think they need to honor the fact that there was trauma. And because if you just try to put, a lot of people will say, just say affirmations. Well, I tried that.
I
And
tried that too.
yeah, it's just a circle. So what are you really doing? Well, you have all this dirty water in your bathtub, all of this stinky, icky stuff that says you're no good. And you're trying to pour a little drop of clean water onto that sticky, oozy mess and hope that it's going to somehow make a difference. So the first thing I want you to do is let the water out of the bathtub. So you just say, okay, it happened. I did or didn't participate willingly. And now the only choice I have is to let it go. Because while I am holding on to the energy of what's wrong, I can never fully embrace the energy that can clear and heal me and help me see what's right. So the first thing you've got to do is just say, okay, I acknowledge all of this pain, all of this hurt, however you want to identify it, but I am ready to let it go. Now, I work with the angels, so I bring in all of the helpers to actually change your energetic configuration. So they come in and they actually wash that area clean. They take away the hurt. They help you understand there's no hurt to go back to. You look at it, you make peace with it, and you release it lovingly. And then you've got to fill that space with unconditional love and acceptance. You can't just leave a blank place, because if you leave it blank, your habit is to be condemning. Your habit is to be unkind and cruel to yourself. So if you just have an open space that is newly clean, it is soon going to be dirty again because
Yeah.
that habit is still too much a part of your psyche. So you wash away the hurt and the pain, you put in its place unconditional love and acceptance, and then you can do the affirmations. You can get in the mirror and say, I love you, and then give a reason why I love you. I'm proud of you. I think you're so amazing because, and then state something because you let go of that pain. Do you know how hard it was to let go of that pain? You are amazing. Be your own best cheerleader. But please clear away the hurt and the pain first. Otherwise, it's like taking a thimble full of water and trying to grow plants in a desert. It cannot happen. It will not happen. And it will make you believe that you are a failure and nothing is ever going to change. So let's acknowledge you've got to give yourself clear space before you can do anything else. So if you're not willing to clear the space, if you love the resentment and the ache and the pain and the whole game, you're not ready. And that's okay. But you have to acknowledge, okay, I'm not ready. And then you let it go and you move on. And perhaps you can get in the mirror and say, I love you for being honest and saying, I'm not ready. I still am deeply resentful. I'm still so angry.
I'm sorry, Dr. Marcia, to cut you. When you say, I'm not ready, yes, some people will say and acknowledge that I'm not ready. But sometimes, Dr. Marcia, some people, they procrastinate. I'm not ready. They keep on just like saying, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. But it's been 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and still you're not ready. So what can you say to these people that, come on?
And I think that's what you have to say is, okay, I understand. I completely understand that this is something new, something you haven't done before, something that will feel awkward in the beginning and perhaps make you feel uneasy. But we need to understand that when we generate emotions like anger, resentment, jealousy, greed, negativity, or any of these lower vibrational emotions, the only one that is guaranteed to interact with the end product of that emotion is you. You generated it, hoping that Charlie over there in the corner might get the hint that you're angry with him. But you know what? Charlie can say, I got all the love in my heart that I need. Sorry you're angry over there, but I'm not having it today. But you, as the generator, are causing your physical body to break down over time from the stress of this negativity. So you've really got to have an honest conversation with yourself and say, okay, I could be looking at a long-term illness, a wearing away of my physical well-being, my mental acuity, my emotional health, if I choose to hold on to this resentment and this anger. Or I could let go and have my health restored, my mind clear, my heart open so that I could get into a new relationship or a more fulfilling job or just live a life that feels better. So it's kind of like, you got to look at what really is happening. And I don't care if you are 100% right that Charlie hurt you badly. Even if Charlie is absolutely to blame. You are still receiving the end product of those lower emotions. And so it's up to you to decide, have I held on to this anger long enough? Do I have an ulcer yet? Do I have IBS? Do I have some other cancer, some other destructive health condition brewing in my body? And am I ready to let go? Even though I may be justified. We don't get into the trap of it's righteous anger. You know what? It's still anger.
Yeah.
It's still hurting you. And truly, what I have learned over the years is that everybody, including Charlie, had a reason for doing what they did. And when we dig down deep and really observe things from the other person's perspective, we may see that Charlie is a badly wounded person and isn't capable of more than that. Yes, he hurt you, but he is still hurting, because unless he can rise up and take accountability, he is going to be repeating these actions and his life is not going to get better. So you can set yourself free. He may never set himself free in this lifetime, but you can set yourself free. You can be the one that is living in heaven right here on earth, because you live in a state of love, joy, and peace. And perhaps he only is able to live in a place of agony.
Mhm. Yes. But Dr. Marcia, there are some people that, yes, they've done everything you said, already good, feeling good about themselves. The love for themselves increased and it's better now. But after 3, 4, or 5 months, they are in the same hole and this time deeper. What
Okay,
is
well,
your take on that?
okay, excellent. I'm going to hire you to be on my on my analyzation team. You didn't let the water out of the bathtub. You gave lip service. You said you felt better. You did it all in your brain. You convinced yourself that this was working, but your heart is still filled with pain. So when you work with me and with the energetic realm, we don't worry about the brain. Now, I am a trained psychologist. I have a master's degree in educational and developmental psychology. I was so brain focused for most of my life. I think it took me 40 years to travel from here to
To the
here.
heart. Oh, wow.
But now I understand that the heart is the governing body. There are actually more neurons that go from the heart to the brain than from the brain to the
To the
heart. Now
heart.
that's the physical heart. I work in the energetic heart. But what is happening when you engage with trauma on any level is that you are creating subconscious programming, because the heart's job is to be the protector. It's the heart brings blood to the entire body. It sends out information. It is the protector. It is here to keep you alive. So trauma comes and it says, oh, this is terrible. We don't like this. Run, Arnie. Remember this, or freeze, or fly, or fight, do something that will protect us. Okay, so you get through that time and you do whatever you need to do in order to move through the incident, and you think, oh, that's over. It's not over. You have established a program now that will be transferred to the subconscious, where it will be stored waiting for a trigger event to happen, so that you'll know, okay,
It
it's
will
here
come out
again.
again.
I
Yeah.
have to read. And it keeps going until you actually access the subconscious through the heart and release it. You are releasing the programming so that there is nothing to react to. You will remember, but there is no longer a reaction. It will be, oh, oh, oh. yeah, I remember when that used to be so troublesome. Hmm. And it's just like, I'm in control. This trigger event, this previous trauma no longer has control over me. It's not fear that is running and ruining my life anymore. Now it is the wisdom of the healed and cleared and healed heart that has access to the divine mind that is letting me know that I am safe and loved and I'm okay. So I can take a minute, take a breath, connect with my source of wisdom, and ask myself, what is the best course of events moving forward? I no longer have to react. Now I can actually decide what would feel good instead of how do I protect myself?
Yeah.
So if you are back deeper in the furrow than you were 3 months ago, it is because you tried to do it through the brain, and this is really only done successfully through the heart.
But Dr. Marcia, the question now, how can I be brain focused to change to become heart focused? How to do that? How can I transform myself? Because I'm the one who always think, think, think. Because a lot of people, they said, don't be emotional. I've heard a lot of people, which I always correct
Okay.
them. Okay. So how can they be heart focused and not brain focused?
Okay, my brilliant friend. First, first of all, the energetic heart is not emotional. It's wise. So they are correct that you don't want to react emotionally because emotions are jagged. You know, they cannot take the time to process what's happening. It's a reaction and it's generally jagged and can cause us to get in trouble. So they're correct. You don't want to react emotionally, but at the same time, you cannot trust the brain because the brain loves to magnify. You know, you get one little thought, and before you know it, you have an entire locomotive with 9,000 cars coming along your track telling you, whoa, look out, it really got big now. So when I am talking about working with the energetic heart, I am not talking about emotions or out of control thoughts. I am saying that instead, you create for yourself a relationship with the divine and you allow yourself to get to a place of peace because instead of listening to the chatter, you say, okay, I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to allow myself just to be, just to experience. I'm going to allow myself to take a moment and decide this feels good, and that is this thought and this emotion. If I am thinking, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared, my emotions have got me all tight. But if I take a breath and take a moment, I can ask myself, does this feel good? Do I feel wise from this place? Or do I just feel reactionary? So you got to be honest. Say, I mean, and here's another truth from me. I used to eat fear for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was
Oh,
my main meal. It was what I lived for, how I believed I was going to keep my family safe, and how I thought the only way you could live your life. So I understand how seductive it is to get wrapped up in fear. But I also know that when you allow yourself to connect and create a relationship with the divine, and it can be any kind of relationship that is an honest heart-based one. You can use any tradition, any religion, any kind of connection that brings you some sort of honest connection. And by that, I mean, if it's very ritualistic and you're just mumbling words, that's not a connection. That's just, gosh, I hope so. Somebody told me that if I said these words, I could get a magic answer. And that's not going to work. You're in your brain. I am asking you to be so deeply honest and committed to the journey that you have established a heart-based connection. Now, for me, because I bring in the entire energetic realm, I call Jesus my best friend. However, I am not aligned with any religious group because for me, religion really hurt me badly. So I want very little to do with organized religion, but I have a deep personal relationship with the Christ consciousness that is within every person. And that is what I have nourished. That's what I have grown. That's what I have allowed to expand. So when I am confronted with something, my first reaction is not to go outward, but to go inward. And to say, okay, what's really happening here? What do I need to understand? Who can I call on? Because I work with them and everybody can. Who can I call on to help me through this situation? And I also have taught myself and teach everyone that you are always safe and loved. We must understand we live in physical bodies. Yes, they can have a time when they are no longer capable of supporting life. However, the energetic being that is you cannot be hurt or harmed. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot encounter a circumstance that is too difficult or too damaging to cause you to separate completely from the divine. So we are free to experiment. We are free to go in any direction we want. And at the end of the day, we're all going back to the same source because there's only one source, and you will be loved just unconditionally. There will be no moment where, oh, I like Arnie, but Marcia, oh no.
But Dr. Marcia, I'm sorry. I'm sure some of the listeners will think like, oh, it's easier said than done. And I'm in this moment now. How can I stop and ask myself what's happening? What do I have to do now? And connect with the divinity or the divine spirit. How can I do that? It's happening now. I'm having this argument with my husband, with my wife, with my friend. How can I just I want to respond? What do I have to say? Do I have time to really stop and think and observe and really analyze what's happening inside my body? So what can you say about that?
Okay, you get an A+. So there is a catch. Unfortunately, most things do come with a little bit of work that you have to do. In the moment, if that moment has already progressed to the argument stage, the most that you're going to be able to do, there are two things that you can do. One is you can take a breath before replying. The other one, my favorite of favorites, which I used repeatedly before I got to this place of strength where I sort of live in a state of serenity, is a bathroom break. Because nobody, you could be in the middle of an argument, recognize, what am I doing? And say, oh, excuse me, I have to use the bathroom. I'll be right back. Now, nobody is going to go in the bathroom with you to see whether you really had to.
No one will say, can I go with you, Dr. Marcia?
So what you do is you go in the bathroom, shut the door, and take a minute to get back into your center. Take as much time as you need to really process so that you can come back to the situation cool, calm, and collected. But ideally, what you want to do is begin getting prepared now by clearing out all of the triggers so that you're not going to be in that position where somebody is going to be arguing with you. The higher that we rise in our vibrational resonance, the more that we are filled with love and joy and peace, the more we attract others who are filled with that to us, and the more serene and joyous and loving our life can become. So, in the beginning, you might be in that bathroom every 5 minutes, and you can say, "Oh, I think I have a bladder infection." Yeah, if, if they really care. But, but but if you stay with it and you really do the work when you're not arguing with someone to unpack the painful situations, you will encounter the argument, the trigger, the hard place less and less and less until it is almost non-existent. Now, I have to add a caveat though. There will never come a time, and you don't want there to be a time, when your life has no challenge, because we are here to grow. So you want to have reasons to continue to grow and to expand and to be challenged. What happens is not that you are no longer challenged, but that you have so many tools in order to meet the challenge that it's easier and easier and easier, even though the challenges may even become larger because you're growing. So you are going to be, more is going to be expected of you, but your tool chest of easy techniques of ways to handle it is going to be so jam packed full that you'll be like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, what else? Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yes, here I am back again. Instead of, oh, I got to run to the bathroom again. Oh, my. I mean, I probably spent years in the bathroom trying to get to the place of calm so I could come out and present myself in a way that I felt was honoring to myself and the other person, instead of going at it and wanting to cause more tension.
I was thinking, Dr. Marcia, you're going to say count 1 to 100, because I've heard some people say you have to count 1 to 100, but some people, they counted, but they said 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. They didn't count it. So it
Well,
was very fast.
and no matter what you do, you have to be committed to it, because you can go in the bathroom and hang on to your anger too.
That's
You can
right.
go in the bathroom and say that and come out even worse. So, if you are not wanting to release your anger, your participation, your frustration, don't bother. Just go ahead and have the fight, get it over with, and then after you are through that, start saying, okay, that was really not me operating in my highest vibration. How
Regrets,
can I,
regrets, regrets.
how can I move forward, prepare, ensure that I'm not going to be triggered by this again? Let me go understand. And certainly something that we do in heart healing is we go to the point of origin. Where did you first begin interacting with this trigger in this way? Let's go to the first time and release you from it there. And then it's like dominoes. All of the rest of the triggers that you had piled up are just no longer available. But if all you have access to is today, begin where you are.
There you go. Dr. Marcia, we're beginning to be more exciting now. So we started with the trauma, and now my question is, we talk about a lot of relationships, but relationships with our families, with our friends, with our colleagues, but it's not very common to talk about our relationships with ourselves. How can we have a fulfilling relationships with ourselves?
I think we need to remember the one relationship that matters more than any is the one that you have with you. And this is not a self-focused or selfish take. This is recognizing, if you don't love you, If you cannot honor you, if you cannot enjoy you, you are not going to be able to honor any member of your family, your spouse, your coworkers, or anyone that you interact with throughout the day. And one thing I want us to be very clear on is that we cannot contain our energy. So when I first began, I spent every day, all day, every day, pleasing everyone else to my
Wow.
own detriment, believing that that would somehow make me a better person and that I would like me because look at all these nice things that I did for all these people. And all it did was drain me because I was working from my human self and I was exhausting myself until I just was no good anymore. And I was creating dependencies. So people began relying on me, and I kept trying to do more and more and more. So they had no responsibility. I had all of the responsibility. And when I ultimately failed out of exhaustion, I took all these people down with me. So when you begin saying, I am going to create a personal relationship with the divine so that I can understand who I am at my core, you are beginning to fill the cup. You are beginning to become this beautiful vessel of unconditional love and acceptance. But that blessing that you are receiving doesn't turn on and off. You can't qualify for it one day and you can't be disqualified the next day. It's a continual, unconditional stream of love and acceptance. All you have to do is be open to receive it. So at some point, you're going to be full. And then that's when the magic begins because you're full. So you are luminescent and the blessings continue and you begin pouring out on everyone you meet. This is world changing. If everyone were to commit to loving themselves and establishing a relationship with the divine, so they became luminescent and began pouring that love out onto everyone around them, we would be living in paradise because you can't hold your energy to yourself. You can't turn off the stream of blessings. So you become a walking fountain. And everywhere you go, you bless everyone around you to the degree that they're willing to receive.
See. But Dr. Marcia, again, I'm speaking on behalf of the listeners. You said the word divine many, many times. And the question here is, like for me, I have my religion, I have my own personal relationship with God. But how about those who don't have religions or don't believe in anyone above them? How can create that kind of relationship with that divine thing? How can we have that?
That is an excellent question. Okay, now you're getting tough, Arnie. If you are you you do not, absolutely do not have to believe in God. If God has become a dirty word for you because you have been um, hurt by some of the religious dogma, throw that word out of your vocabulary. But if you can get to the place where you can say universe, source, creator, divine, holy one, anything, and you can see that it is really impossible for the intricacy that we have to have been created by chance. And one of the ways that I encourage people to do that is if you're really struggling to believe, let's say you're an atheist or an agnostic, and you're really struggling to believe that there is any kind of divine being that could give two hoots about you. I want you to go outside and find the most inconsequential insect, the smallest what you may consider the most worthless bug on the planet. And then I want you to carefully examine that creature and notice they have everything they need to survive. They have the correct coloring for their environment. They have exactly what they need in order to be able to find a mate and to ensure that their species continues. Everything that they could possibly need, even though they are not capable of reasoning, and they can't stop and say, oh, I'm hungry, let me go to the grocery store. Everything they could possibly desire has been gifted to them down to the littlest molecule. If you can look at that infinitesimal insect that is so low on the food chain that it barely exists, and not believe that there is a divine force that has created all of this, then I don't think I can help you. But you got to be really cynical. I mean, get your magnifying glass out and find the thing that can't be even seen with the physical eye, and notice that that thing that appears to have no value is so loved that it has every possible thing that it needs in order to live its highest quality life. So if you can look at that and see the love that created it and still tell me there's no creator,
You don't belong to this world.
I can't help you. You got me. You
go
got
to
me
the
on
Mars.
that one. Yeah. No, you got me on that one. I mean, I'm blown away by the absolute intricacy of how everything is so perfect for these animals that we just take for granted. For the flowers, for the everything has a purpose, and it's perfect in its purpose. And yet they have no brain as we do. They just exist in their glory. You cannot tell me that some flower somewhere along the way got a brain and figured out what it needed to do in order to. Yeah. I can't go there with you.
But Dr. Marcia, how can you say that a person has very good relationship with themselves? What when you talk to them, when you meet them, sometimes remember, of course, we all judge, but it's how you act on your judgment that I think makes it different. But
yes, and I think you know the people that are at peace and have understand that there is good within them and that there is value and worth because they seem to glow. They have this inner joy that is so infectious, and they are not interested in taking yours. They want to share, they want to give, they want to show you what you have and draw it out of you. That's a person that is at peace because they understand who they are and what they have brought to share. And let's be very clear, everyone has brought a gift. There are no exclusions to that rule. Everyone has brought a gift, and you are the only one that is capable of sharing the gift that you have brought in your way. I can share it my way. We may both be piano players, but you're going to have a certain interpretation that I will never be able to have. And I will have a different style than you that you may not be able to duplicate. So there's no reason to be in competition because each one of us is so precious and so necessary. And the people that have gotten to the place where they're just enjoy truly do glow. And you can feel coming off of them just this acceptance. You feel welcomed. You feel worthy. You feel valuable.
wow. Nice. In my introduction, Dr. Marcia, remember there are three questions that you help people answer. How can people answer that question, who am I? Because I've met some people, they said, Ani, I don't know how to answer that question. You see? But is there any guide, Dr. Marcia, that you can tell us that how can I know myself? How can I answer that? Who am I? I'm confused.